Tremendous Thursday to you. As you can tell, among other things, I want to talk about the brother from another planet. You ever met a brother before? He just seemed like he's straight from another planet. Well, if not, all you got to do is look at Tim Scott. He's a senator. His response to Joe Biden, that's President Joe Biden's national address last night. I mean, I don't know what planet he's from, but it can't be Earth. What the hell? If you missed it, I got the highlights and the lowlights. And we'll talk about everything that your president said that he wants to do. Did he discuss the black agenda? What is he going to do specifically for black voters? Well, I'll break it down for you this morning. I'll break it all the way down. Also, a black woman in Ohio was threatened by a white man, self-professed racist, who claimed that he had an AK-47. What did he say? And what happened? I'll share with you this morning. All right, here's the number, 513-873-7134. If you want to transform your brain waves into digital talk radio waves this morning, I am here to receive it. The last honest place in Cincinnati media is back and hopefully better than ever. You should be the judge. Plus, I got a smattering of other topics related to people, politics, and pleasure that we must discuss this morning. All right, there's some local issues we must discuss as well as we're getting ready. Like, how deep is Cincinnati's affordable housing crisis? A question asked by people that probably own their own homes. Let's keep it real. But listen, I want to give you I gave about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. That's 120 seconds, I believe. 60 plus 60 is 120. Yes, I am correct. I can still count. Thank you, CPS. Proud graduate, product of CPS, Cincinnati Public Schools, which you spent a lot of time talking about yesterday. And it may go over a little bit of the highlights from yesterday's conversation as well, because it was just so important. So important. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well on a tremendous Thursday. Now, if you live in Cincinnati, at least where I live, I live like in the center city, right? I look outside my window. You know what I see? RAIN, rain, overcast, clouds. And guess what? It is a beautiful day. I love it. I love it. And listen, family, until you're laying on your back in a hospital bed, in a local hospital, you may not understand just how beautiful each and every day of life is. I love it. I don't care if it was hailing outside. I can smell the air. I can look outside the window of the studio here in my home, secret location. I can see it. It is beautiful. Be better than me, family. I keep telling you, be better than me. Don't go out like your boy. Be better than me. I love it. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be an absolutely tremendous day. I can already feel it. Something positive is going to happen today. I can feel it. I can feel it. So again, I'll give you about 120 seconds. Please share the show. I don't know why I'm talking like that. Please share the show and we'll get started, okay? When you share the show, quite frankly, more people see it. I'm only one man with one mic. and one mission. See how it still works. But again, together we can do tremendous things. So lift me up on your shoulders this morning, folks. If you like this kind of content, you might be like, I don't like this damn show. Okay, I get it. I understand. Can you help your boy out and share it anyway? That's all I'd ask. Each and every day, I'm trying to hit about 70 shares. And we hit about 70 shares, man, that will just exponentially increase the reach of the show. So please take a second to like and in particular share the show. It means everything. It means everything. Every day, everything. It means everything. All right, enough with the funnies and the jokes. It's time to be serious. And I'll be back in about 90 seconds. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, we here. We live. All right, we're good now. Good morning, everybody. Okay, give me 1 second here. I want to make sure that I am sharing my own show. I can't ask you to do it. I ain't doing it, right? That wouldn't make any sense. Good morning to you. What's on your mind, family? We almost made it through another week. We almost made it through another week. My son trying to get my attention. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, there it is. Oh, great. I love it. Good morning to you. Hold on one second here. Let me make sure that I am sharing my own show. I'm gonna ask you to do it, but I ain't doing it. That don't make any sense. What's up, friends? How you doing? Good morning, family. How are you? What's up, choppers? We got an emotional show yesterday. It got heated. Oh, I kind of like it when it gets heated like that. Actually, that makes for a good show. We need more emotion and divergent points of view. I'm with it. I'm here for it. Good morning to you. All right, we all Gucci. I think we're Gucci. All right, good morning to you. Good morning. Let's get back into it. Nathan Ivy with you, and as always, it's my pleasure to be with you now. On Tuesday, don't forget, on Tuesday, we talk with Christian Boykin. He is the host of a podcast called The Echo Chamber. It's coming to CDM, so you'll see it real soon. It'll be on Mondays in the late evening, like 8 p.m. approximately. And I'm very excited about teaming up with him. There's so many great creative folks out there, and I want to work with you. And tomorrow, we're going to have another special guest. I'm not going to tell you who it is yet. It's going to be a blast from the past. And this person is coming over to work with CDM as well. And this person will be doing a weekly podcast as well. Now, if you live in the greater Cincinnati area for any length of time, you'll probably recognize this individual's name. But this person is going to be with us tomorrow at 9 a.m. approximately, just to do like an introduction, and introduce her to the show, or this person to the show, and just kind of let you know what to expect from the podcast and all that kind of good stuff. Good morning to you. This is me. Welcome to my home from a secret location somewhere in Cincinnati. I got black art for all the people that think I'm anti-black artist. That's a black artist, local black artist there. Yeah, I support black art, local black artists. Yes, good morning to you. And I'm a plant person, as you already know, and I love books and comic books. Back in the day, people used to say people like me was a nerd. Now everybody loves Marvel. Everybody love Marvel. You love you some Black Panther. I always hit the Black Panther 30 years ago. It was dope 30 years ago. It was even doper 30 years ago because it was more exclusive. Everybody wasn't into it. Everybody watching WandaVision. Everybody watching Captain America, Winter Soldier. I was hip to it 30 years ago. It was super dope. Wait till they do the X-Men right. Yeah, when they finally get that right, because it's been trash so far. When they finally get that right, you're going to love it. Good morning to you. Yeah. Somebody asked me, that's a Strike comic book, limited edition. I just collected comic books with black superheroes. It kind of makes sense, don't it? I know it does. It does. Ah, man, I wish I could open that window there so I could look at the raindrops coming down, the overcast. I love it. I don't want to hear no belly aching. Because again, until you laying on your back for a week, 2 weeks, a month in some hospital bed, eating terrible hospital food. Oh my God. Laying on them nasty ass sheets. They'll give you a rash. Those hospital sheets will give you a rash. How many thousands of nasty ass human bodies have been laying on those sheets and you're laying there? You won't appreciate life. It takes a near-death experience in some cases to really stop and smell the roses. Ah, man. So on some levels, I look at myself as being a little bit lucky. Well, not a lot of bit lucky, quite honestly, that I was able to go to the edge, look into the abyss, and then come back for round 2. That's right. I was glad to be here. I don't give a damn what the weather is. I love it. I love it. Every day, all day. It is a blessing to be here with you, my friends. Again, 513-873-7134. How many people got a chance to see this brother's response to Joe Biden last night? This is Senator Tim Scott. What? Among other things, he said that the president and his party are pulling us further and further apart. What? Among other things, this mofo got in front of everybody last night and said that Operation Warp Speed had really pushed the country forward in trying to deal with the COVID-19 crisis. What? What did he say? And then this black man put up by the Republicans got up there and started talking about how the Democrats are trying to use race baiting politics and that race shouldn't be used as a weapon, as if he was completely oblivious to the fact that part of the reason that they probably chose him is because he's black. What planet is this black man from? Did y'all see any of this? Oh my God. I mean, it was worth it just for the coonery and buffoonery. Or should I say buffoonery and coonery? I like to alphabetize things. It's the OCD in me. Tim Scott says America is not a racist country last night. Oh, really? Oh, really? Tell that to George Floyd. Yeah, it's not a racist country. Yeah, thank you, Tim Scott. The buffoonery and coonery last night was on 1,000 on a scale to 1 to 10. It was on 1,000. What? Last night, he is the only black Republican in the Senate. Damn, we deserve better. He is from South Carolina, Tim Scott. No facial hair, which is a dead giveaway. Dead giveaway. I know people don't like it and they take it personal when I talk about, black men with no facial hair, but I'm going to say it again. It's something about that. I don't know what it is. You can't get like a little sandal paw or something? You can't, none? It's just something about that. Damn, Tim, I'm not saying it's the most intelligent observation. I'm not trying to wax like it's the most insightful thing, but none? Clean baby bottom face? Would you trust this face? Hell, okay, no, I wouldn't trust it. He looks like like a human sock puppet. Like somebody has their hand like manipulating his face. The hell? Where they get these brothers from, man? Mars or Planet X? I think there's a Planet X, right? That nobody's ever really seen before. Some other conspiracy theory type of ish. He said last night, I get called Uncle Tom and the N-word by progressives. I wonder why. That smooth baby face of yours. I wonder why. I wonder why. I wonder why. It's because of the nonsense, like you said last night. Of course, I got clips. What? Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country. And he oblivious to the fact that the Republicans put him up to say those kind of things because he is a black man. Oh, dear Lord, we deserve so much better. We deserve so much better. And the sad thing is, there's probably people out there eating it up like, you know what? I really liked him. You know what? I really liked Tim Scott. I don't know what it is about him. Yeah, I know what it is. He got that smooth baby face skin. And the buffoonery and coonery that comes out of his mouth just makes some people feel better about themselves and their own racism. He also suggested that while black kids were once told the color of their skin made them inferior, white kids are now told the color of their skin makes them an oppressor. It's interesting. That's a hell of a quote right there. White kids are now told that the color of their skin makes them an oppressor. Is that true? Any truth to that? 513-873-7134. Is that what we're telling white kids? Is that how white people analyze when melanated people raise their voices and protest to what's happening in the country? They take it that way? I don't know. I'm not white. I don't know. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. What do you think? This man sounded like a damn fool last night. Parts of his response sounded as if it came straight from the Trump administration. They want to revise history. Oh yeah, Operation Warp Speed helped so many people. Sure it did. Sure it did. Thousands upon thousands of people still dying when Trump reluctantly handed over the reins of power. No mention of the Capitol riots, whatsoever in his rebuttal. Now, here's why this is important, because typically Typically, the person who the Republicans choose to make these kind of rebuttals to the president go on to be presidential candidates. And so that's what the rumor or the whispers are about Tim Scott, that he might run for president in what is that, 2024? Really? Wow. He couldn't get my vote. I'll tell you that right now. It ain't happening. Quote, I have experienced the pain of discrimination. I know what it feels like to be pulled over for no reason, to be followed around a store while I'm shopping. Okay, so what does that mean exactly? Because you think that racism is dead? What does that mean exactly, Tim Scott? What exactly are you saying? Like, on one hand, he'll say, oh, the healing is not finished in America. We got a long way to go, but racism is dead. Huh? What? That's the best thing you had to say, black man? It's amazing. It's quite amazing. Talking about I get called Uncle Tom and the N-word by progressives. No, you get called Uncle Tom and the N-word by people, Tim Scott, just people. You know what I'm saying? Because of the things that come out of your mouth and the things that don't come out of your mouth. But I get it. I'm sure that being a senator is a super cool job, right? 6-year terms. Oh my God, you're one of what, 100? I'm sure that's a really, really big time special job. You are somebody. You's a somebody. And I'm sure that every time he even thinks about getting out of line, they crack that whip like, hey, listen now, we can primary you, Tim. Don't think. You are from South Carolina, Tim. You got to kiss this ring or we to get rid of you. Understand, boy? I understand. I mean, he's probably in a prison, right? That senator seat is probably a prison for him. I wonder what his private thoughts are. You never know. But again, some people will do anything to get a little bit of shine. Some people will do anything to get a little bit of elevation. They will do anything to feel like they are somebody. Anything. They'll kill. They'll stab people in the back. They'll lie. They'll rob. They'll do whatever they got to do to get a little bit of something. There's a lot of black folks like that too. Get a little bit of piece of something. They'll do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Oh, dear Lord. Oh, speaking of which, let me say my prayers. Lord, forgive me for my brash delivery. All right, cool. We good. I can say whatever now, still get to heaven. I love the way Christianity is set up. You can do whatever you want to do and then repent and still get into heaven. It's so convenient. It's hella convenient. It's hella convenient. I'm just feeling a little different today. Who knows what might be coming out of my mouth? I don't know. I have no idea. Good morning to you. Brenda writes, happy Thursday. Tanika writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Sharp writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. The Politically Petty Podcast Show writes, morning, Nate and the Choppers. Hashtag flows rated E for everybody. Hashtag speak black to me. Hashtag free Chris Matthews. We are not freeing Chris Matthews. Damn it. It's over for Chris Matthews. And I'm glad. I didn't like him. Tim Scott and Daniel Cameron, our ancestors, frown on them. Now, I didn't even put those two together, but I'm sure they're not happy right now. Some of them anyway. There's a long legacy of Uncle Tom's just like, get that bread from the grave. Get it. I did it in the 1800s. You got to do it now, Tim. Daniel. Use it doing a good job. Token Tim. You wrong for that, bro. Token Tim. That's what he is. But again, I mean, let's get a brother some latitude, man. I mean, being a U.S. senator, that's a hell of a big time job. So, it's people out here doing far worse or doing the same and getting less out of it. Let alone you a big time U.S. senator, the only black senator in the United States Senate. That's a big time job. You know what I'm saying? You got people out here fighting for scraps. At least he's shooting for the moon, right? Give him some credit. Give that brother some credit. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. I think that CPS should have to respond to. Yesterday, we spent some time talking with the folks from the Young Activist Coalition and also a representative, Elena, from the ACLU. And the more I thought about it, I'm looking to see what the response is going to be from the school board and the administration. They should have to respond to that. They should. This city we let people off the hook way too much. We let them off. We let the administration off the hook as it relates to Gabriel Taye. Nobody wants to talk about it other than me. These other media outlets, they might report it, but they ain't gonna really press them on it. But CPS needs to be pressed upon that. We need to know whether these numbers are true and what are they doing about it. Period. That needs to happen. That needs to happen. Yesterday we had a very robust dialogue. I think that's how you say it. About those issues. If you missed it, circle back. It's worth your time. It's worth your time. Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country. Yeah, okay. Okay. Thank you, Token Tim. That's hilarious. I'm sure. How come I didn't come up with that? That's all you can do. Political Petty writes, Tim Scott is Drop's mentor. you and Drop, man. Can we do this show, please? I will produce. Can we do this show? I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it. Drop's mentor. You are hilarious, man. You're going to just incur his wrath. Now, all you're going to do is whip that brother up. He's going to come super hard at you. That's all you're going to do, man. How you going to do? 513-873-7134. I'm reading that Little Kim is going to release her memoir this fall. Quote, you thought you knew, but you have no idea. I'm here for it. I like hip hop literature. I like hip hop books. I'm here for that. We do need to hear from, is it Queen Bee? No, it's not Queen Bee. We do need to hear from Little Kim. I'm here for that. I'm looking forward to that. No, it is Queen Bee. It's called The Queen Bee Book. It should be out in November. I'm going to try to get a review copy and see if I can get an interview with the Queen Bee, a.k.a. Kimberly Denise Jones. Lil' Kim was hot, especially with that album cover. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying? She was squatting down. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about. I'll be honest with you. I had it over my bed. You know what I'm saying? Proximity means everything. I'm a man, believe it or not. 100%. Samantha writes, I did circle back. Great conversation. Yeah, they were on point. Just to hear, and again, just to hear see young people in Cincinnati so active in their own circumstances. I just say it again. I mean, that is, to me personally, and I can't speak for anybody else, but that should be very, very, very encouraging. And it should make everybody ask themselves, what are we willing to do about the issues that we complain about or things that we are seeing that are wrong? I love it. On Monday, so that was early in the week, they staged a protest outside of the Marison Academy. They blocked the doors. I haven't done so yet, but Yusuf said that one of the school board members was complaining about how he had to go through the side door. I think this happened in I think this is public, in the public school board meeting. I'm going to circle back around and see if I can find it and then reach out to that school board member and question them. I'm curious as to what would be the problem. I guess that's bullying, huh? Don't be bullying us with your protest. These school board members, some of them get real sensitive. You know what I'm saying? They want to make life and death decisions about our children, but they don't want us to press them about the decision. Just deal with it. Don't. I made my decision. All this kind of nonsense. Oh, okay. We see you. Mm-hmm. And I think both political parties should be held accountable for their endorsements. We should be paying close attention to the endorsements that these school board members get, and then holding either the Democrats, Republicans, I don't give a damn who it is, holding them responsible for why they choose to endorse certain individuals. Because we know what's coming. And I'll be the one to do it. I will be the one to do it, because this nonsense. Don't be bullying us with your protests, talking about how black kids are disproportionately disciplined. We don't want to hear all of that. Is that what happened? You can't make this up. You can't make this up. This is like amazing. Amazing. Again, let me throw my number out to the ether and see what happens, because we have a very unique, eclectic group of regular callers. There it is, 513-873-7134. If you'd like to share your thoughts this morning. Let's talk about Biden as well. I think we should be talking about Joe Biden, because this matters. And he made a bold presidential pitch to help to transform America last night with his American Jobs Plan. You know what? It's funny, and I don't make any, I'm not equating Francis Underwood. I'm going to say right now, one of the best Netflix series of all time is what? One of the best Netflix series of all time is what? House of Cards. If you haven't seen House of Cards, what are you doing? And then you got to go back if it's available, because it was for some time, and you got to watch the original, the British version as well. It's still good. The American version is better to me, but the British version, where it was the original, same title, House of Cards, is worth your time too. Francis Underwood and his wife, Claire Underwood. I mean, come on now. That's some of the best TV ever. If you like those kind of political dramas, that kind of stuff, you got to watch it. You just got to watch it. It is worth your time. You're going to love it. It is deliciously adult. And I love adult things, meaning it's got everything. It's got the sex. It's got the violence. It's got the politics. It's got everything. It's got it all in there. I love it. And I remember, not to spoil anything, but at some point, Francis Underwood delivers his own American Jobs Plan, right? And it's just the title of it kind of reminded me of Joe Biden's vision for America, his American Jobs Plan, which I think we need. He says it's a once in a generation investment. And he started talking about free stuff like free community college. Says he wants to create the first federal paid leave program, along with entitlements for childcare and pre-kindergarten education. He wants to make community college tuition free. He wants to extend a massive child tax credit that would cut child poverty in half. And how does he want to pay for all of this? He wants to tax the wealthiest Americans. He wants, I think, 2%, 1.5%, something close to that. He wants to increase their taxes to wealthy Americans and then use that money coming into the federal coffers to pay for his $1.9 trillion American Families Plan. That's the centerpiece of his 100-day proposal. And I'd like to know what you think about that. What do you think? Do you think that that's a good idea? How do you feel about taxing wealthy people? Because everybody want to be wealthy, right? Not everybody, but a lot of people aspire to have as much money as they possibly can. A lot of people aspire to live the lifestyle of the rich and famous, right? You want to have multiple homes and multiple vehicles and options, right? You want to have a luxury box down at the Paul Brown Stadium, right? Great American Ballpark. You want to have a luxury box, and it's worth it. They take good care of you down there. I had the experience just one time. I want to go back. I think I will have some more shrimp. Thank you. Appreciate it. Air conditioned. Must be nice. You want to have a luxury suite at the FC Cincinnati Stadium? I get it. A lot of people aspire to be as wealthy as they possibly can. And so when you hear this rhetoric or this political talk or these proposals about taxing the rich, for some people, they feel like, well, I want to be rich one day and I don't want to give the government all my money. I get it. I understand it. Quote, my fellow Americans, trickle-down economics has never worked. I know that's right. It has never worked. It's never going to work. If you want to put money in the pockets of somebody, you know how you do it? You write a check in their name. That's how you do it. You know what I'm saying? You don't write a check in a boss's name, hoping that their boss will create a job. You don't do that. That's not what you do. That's not what you do. That's not what you do. If you want to give me some money, you don't give it to the CEO of the company that I work for. If you want to give me some money, you put my name on the check so I can put it in my bank account. Cha-ching. Now we talking. Trickle down economics has always been some bullshit, sizzle. Always. It's never been anything that's real. Hey, Carla, hold on a second, and I'll come straight to you. Come straight. Let me finish this flow real quick. Let me see. Remember, he called for a $15 minimum wage, and you had a half a dozen Democrats that essentially voted against it early this year. I would say something needs to be done. Something big and drastic needs to be done so that more Americans can enjoy, what's happening in America. Like I said, I can only imagine being wealthy in America is probably pretty nice. It's probably pretty nice to be wealthy in America. It comes with a lot of doors that are open to you, a lot of advantages, a lot of good stuff. And if what you're being asked for is to just to give a little bit back so that more people can have more, I don't see the problem with it. A couple years ago, and they're still out there, there was an organization out there that is progressive, like wealthy people. And basically, they are for increasing taxes on themselves. Right? You ever heard these individuals before? I've talked to them several times over the years and kind of lost contact. Maybe y'all re-engage, but there are some wealthy people out there that understand that America works best when more people have more. Not to try to take anything away from anybody, but who wants to live on a block where you got the biggest house, everybody else living in shanties? That ain't secure for you. That's not going to make you safe. You become a target. The last good times in America is when more people had more. I'll leave it like that and go straight to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. Welcome. Is this Danita?
This is Danita.
Hey,
yes,
morning,
it
Danita.
is. Hey, so I, after I got hung up from you, I had to go into a meeting. So I didn't get to hear the rest of the conversation. So I did circle back and listen to it. And then I also reached out to a friend of mine who has girls that go to Walnut. And we had a conversation about the YAC and the resolution that they put out. So from talking to the young lady, I do owe the students of Walnut Hills an apology because what I did was I actually was kind of doing the same thing that I'm saying that Joseph was doing when I said that he was speaking for the district. So from talking to these young ladies, it is like you said, he just happens to go to Walnut because Walnut Hills is not necessarily saying that we need to remove SROs from the school. It is this Joseph and his organization. So from talking to these young ladies, a lot of their friends, they don't support Joseph or his sister in this resolution. So I want to put that out there. So I do apologize to the students of Walnut Hills. What I should have said was the YAC does not speak for the entire district with this resolution. So I just want to say that. So with this resolution, I still think and I still feel strongly that before we ask for a resolution to remove SROs from schools, that all 18 high schools, especially if we're looking at older kids, because I don't think the younger kids, I don't know that they could articulate as well. So maybe it would be good to look at the high schools first. But I do think all 18 high schools need to be a part of the conversation. I think that maybe in the elementary schools, you talk to parents and see how they feel before a resolution is ever put out to remove SROs. I think that has to be a conversation. Kind of how you were saying back when we were talking about whether or not the kids should be virtual versus go to school, how they should use deposits, I think was what you were calling it. Maybe that's something that they need to do before we go out and say remove them from remove the SROs. We need to hear from the community, which is all of the schools. So the 400 signatures obviously do not speak for the 35,000 students in Cincinnati Public Schools. The other thing that I do want to address is, like I said, I wasn't listening actively yesterday, but I did hear Donnie's comments later. And one thing that did bother me was her comment that, parents shouldn't be mad at Walnut because Walnut Hills parents speak out for their kids. And for me personally, it's not that. And it kind of disturbed me a little bit because I think that is the elitist attitude that people are talking about. And so for me, because I say things aren't equal, and I use Walnut as an example, I don't want it to sound like I don't like Walnut. Again, I am a proud Walnut Hills graduate, but my fight is for the other 17 high schools and those other elementary schools. I don't think that a quality education and a quality school experience should be based upon if parents are active or not. And maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way, but I just don't think that you should get everything based upon whether or not your parents speak out. Education should be a right, not a privilege. Good quality education, good school experiences, if you are in a school and not one parent speaks out, I don't think those kids should suffer. And I think we all should be fighting for every kid in Cincinnati Public, whether they have an active parent involvement or not. So that's where I'm coming from, is that I do feel like there is inequities within the district. And I'm sorry, I don't care if you have great that these schools have active parents. We need that. But for the schools who don't, who fights for them? Shouldn't it be up to all of us to fight for all of our kids? So I just think we need to take a look at that. And great that Walnut parents speak out. Love it. But who's fighting for the kids at the schools where the parents don't?
Well, that's a question for those parents. The question is, why aren't you speaking out? They're your children.
But even if they don't, let's say they never do. Isn't it your parent, even though your kid goes to Walnut, you don't want the same quality education for that student at Taft? Why should a district only answer to parents who are loud? They should be answering to every child. Am I wrong about that?
I mean, like in a perfect world, you'd be right. But we don't live in a perfect world. In this world, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. If you sit on your hands and keep your mouth closed, even on your job, you're going to get looked over. That's just the way the world works. And then who's a better advocate for your child than the parent of that child? That's the role of a parent to get loud sometimes.
But you're talking about things that impact adults. I'm totally with you. You have not. A lot of times we have not because we ask not. But when we're talking about things that impact children, that's where I'm saying that's not cool. Now, if you get a raise on your job, right, because you asked, and I don't get a raise because I don't, that impacts me. But the quality of a child's education should not be impacted on whether or not the parents are loud. Every child in Cincinnati Public deserves to have the same quality education, same quality experiences, and it should not be just because parents are loud. It's almost like we're sending the message to the board to if you don't have to respect the school if the parents aren't loud. That's ridiculous.
I don't think they're saying that. I just feel like we got to look at the world for what it is. In a perfect society, yeah. Maybe we should be striving for that, but we don't live in a perfect society. In this world, if there's an issue, you got to raise your voice. You have to be the biggest advocate for your child. It ain't the administrators and it ain't the teachers. It's the parent. You are the number one advocate. So if other parents and other students, other schools aren't speaking up, the question is why? That's on them.
But we don't. So as a community, we don't have an obligation to fight for every kid, no matter what school they're in.
Yeah, but it is a fight for every kid.
We're going to look at this. We're going to look at this and say, "Oh, well, that's not my school, so that's not my problem."
No, nobody's saying that.
Is that what we're saying?
That I don't know where you're getting at. Nobody's saying that. That's not the issue. If you go back and look at the Youth Activist Coalition, what they're trying to do and the data they came up with wasn't just exclusive to Walnut Hills. They're talking about every school. They're talking about SROs. Exactly. It's two different conversations. They're talking about SROs and they're talking about the overall discipline of Black students in every school.
Again, I think those are two different conversations. When we talk about, they are talking about the data that affects the entire district. That you cannot dispute data. It is what it is. But what I'm saying is that the entire student body, the entire student community should have a voice, whether or not a resolution is put up to remove SROs. And maybe that's just my opinion, that I don't understand why YAC would put up a resolution to remove SROs without getting the voice from the entire district, because removing SROs affects the entire district.
Yeah, but Danita,
So
all any activist can do is invite the community to be a part of it. If the community don't come, that's on the community, and that's what they're doing.
You do that before you put up the resolution. You have the conversation before, because the resolution is saying, hey, this is what we want. So you have the conversation before you put up the resolution. Now, if they had reached out to all 18 high schools and got absolutely nothing, then no, you don't just sit around and wait for somebody. You move forward with your action. But you have to have those conversations first.
No.
You can't put up a resolution that affects everyone and you haven't even tried to speak with them.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
Actually, you can do both at the same time. You can identify a problem and come up with a solution, and also engage with the community while you're doing it. And that's what they've been doing. That's the reason why they've been in the news. That's the reason why they come on shows like this.
But they come on your show, but they don't engage their peers. So
they have been. That is not true. That's not true.
No, they have not. Okay.
That's not true.
I'm telling you.
That's not true.
It is.
That is not true. They have been engaging their peers. This ain't the first media they've been doing. They've been out here for years. This ain't new. They've been out here for a while talking about this.
All 17 high schools. They have not engaged all 17 high schools, and that's a fact.
Well, that goes back on you to help them engage then. If you feel like there's some ways to go, then help them engage. But what I'm telling you is that's what they're doing. This is a process of engaging a community. Nothing has been passed. The board hasn't made a decision on this. This is an ongoing conversation. That's all you can do is invite people to the conversation. If they don't come, that don't mean you stop. You keep on going.
I agree with you on that. I said that. I guess our only difference here is that I believe, and it's my opinion, that before you put up a resolution that affects the entire district, that you need to engage kids in the entire district before you put up a resolution. Now, you and I are not going to agree on that part, and that's fine. There's no need to even go back and forth about it, because you're not going to agree with me, and I'm not going to agree with you.
I just don't understand your point. It just seems like you're splitting hairs. Like you're saying they should be doing something that they're already doing. They've already been doing it.
They're not.
Okay.
They're not. And that's what I'm telling you. They have not engaged all 17 high schools. They have not. Again, you believe what you believe, and I believe what I know. They have not engaged all 17 high schools.
Okay.
So it is what it is.
That seems like you're splitting hairs. And if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. But what I would say is the act of being in the community, engaging in the media, being public, asking for help. Now it's on the adults like you and me to make sure we help spread their message so they can engage with every high school. I think that's I totally splitting hairs, but okay.
No, I totally agree with you. And this is why I am going to encourage kids in all 17 high schools to let their voice be heard. If you don't agree with Yusuf, you need to say that. Don't just sit back and be like, well, I don't agree with him, so I'm not going to say anything. No, if you don't agree, you need to let that be known. Parents who don't agree, don't just sit back and say, oh, I don't agree, so I'm not going to sign the petition. You still need to have an active voice. I totally agree with you. And I will take on that to help the youth be heard. If you don't agree, or even if you do agree, let your voice be heard. But I think what's kind of happened, like I said, just from the conversations that I had with and this is just a couple of kids, they felt like we don't agree with this, so we're not saying anything. But no, that's not the way that you become actively involved. If you don't agree with his resolution, what do you think needs to happen?
Right, exactly. It ain't enough to just say you disagree. What's your proposal?
Exactly. So I will take that on, because I think there are a lot of kids in CPS who have had positive experiences with SROs, and that voice also needs to be heard. So I think
Right.
there are parents who have had positive experiences with CPS, and that voice needs to be heard. Don't just sit back because you don't agree with what somebody's saying. Oh, well, we don't agree, so we're just not going to say anything. No, you have to have that opposition voice as well. And so I got to get back, but I do want to end on this. I want people to also think about if we remove SROs, that's not going to stop the police being involved. So what I want people to think about is if you remove SROs, what are you going to get? You are going to get these district police officers who are not trained and who do not necessarily have the heart of kids that the student services officers get. So I'm telling you right now, if SROs are removed, those kids at West High, guess who's coming to respond? Dan Hills' boys, who have no problem roughing up our kids and arresting them. Pad kids, you got to be prepared for District 1 to come across the street. And it's not going to be Officer Hawkins who will talk to you. You understand what I'm saying? Out of West High, it's not going to be Officer Mitchell, who you know and who you see every day and who knows you. It's going to be that district officer who don't give a damn about you. So while we're saying remove SROs, you sometimes don't they say be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. Removing SROs is not going to stop those phone calls. But the people who respond is what's going to be different. And we all know some of those people don't have a heart for our kids. So hopefully we will take that into consideration. And again, I think that people who have children in Cincinnati Public and the students of Cincinnati Public need to make their voices heard on how they feel about this topic. Whether you agree or you disagree with the resolution, let your voice be heard.
All right. Sounds good to me. Anything
Right.
else?
Thanks.
All right.
Nope,
That's
that's
Danita. That's interesting. I appreciate her calling in and admitting all of that. You didn't have to. I'm a parent at Walnut Hills. You had to go ask somebody else to tell you exactly what I already told you. But okay, again, you want to get a second opinion. But I also think that we need to be able to hear what these young activist coalition actually said. I mean, they already said all of that. I mean, what they have said is the SROs is just part of the conversation. They said it needs to be a culture shift, a systemic shift. They already said that. They already said that. And there's two conversations going on. One is about SROs, which, as I said yesterday, is a more complicated conversation because on one hand, you're going to have people that are favor of the SROs, and on others side, you're going to have people that's not. But the other issue is the overall discipline of Black students. That's another issue. That's the whole conversation is about the discipline of CPS students in general, right? And what impacts it. But when they teamed up with the ACLU and put those and did that report through a series of freedom of information requests, now what they've given us is a snapshot of how Black students across the board are being treated. So it's two conversations. I mean, they're intertwined, but there's two issues here. The issue is SROs, is that a positive or negative thing in our CPS schools? That's here. And then secondly, why are Black kids 5 times more likely in Cincinnati public schools to get exclusionary discipline? Two different questions that both need answers. On one, we have more than an opinion. On the other, we have what appears to be empirical data. So it's two conversations here. So when we having a conversation about what they're doing, we need to say that it's not just a conversation about the SROs. And this whole thing about engaging the students, that's what they're doing. That's the reason why they come on shows like this. That's the whole reason they're trying to engage. That's what they said yesterday. We cannot forget what these people said. Give them credit for thinking through this. That's what they're trying to do. Part of this is to engage with the community, meeting with community leaders, is they're trying to let people know about what their viewpoint is, how they see it, and what their resolutions are. Does that mean that everybody's going to agree? No. But if somebody invites you to join the movement and you don't join, they're not going to stop because you didn't join. They're going to keep moving forward. That's how I see it. But let's go. But I appreciate her call, though. Told you it's all love. It's just a conversation here. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, dear brother. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great, Sister Iris.
Good,
Welcome.
good. This is Iris Roller. Yeah, I got a little something going on this morning, so please excuse me. Let me start out with this. This is a complicated conversation. Um, and I've met with the SROs, that met with them. But I've met with the young activists in the coalition and Elena from the ACLU. So I have my druthers about folks swooping in and doing work, one, without connecting with folk on the ground that's already doing things. Two, with the Young Activist Coalition has uncovered, which was done 10 years ago by Legal Aid. I know Donnie B pulled a bunch of data last year, part of the Leaders of the Free World conversation when they were collecting data last summer in the community around healthy policing. This issue continuously comes up. And as one who has spent the last 20 years repairing and rebuilding, reframing, reshaping policies, training, discipline, hiring, all those things that are attached to our public safety apparatus, meaning police, everything is on the table when it comes to reform, everything. And you can't just have one part of the system not have a look at it. So, and let me add to the list of assessments of SROs in the school disciplines. The Black Lawyers Association did an assessment about a couple of months ago as well, and the numbers mimic what you saw yesterday. Now, some of the numbers don't go far enough and don't tell the story that I would like for these numbers to tell, and that is who are the teachers, what schools, because it is a reflection upon what's in the learning house, right? Of which we have an opportunity to talk about as taxpayers, parents, uncles, aunts, grandmothers. What is happening for real inside of these learning institutions? And then how are children being treated, taught, assessed, disciplined? All that is up for scrutiny. So there's nothing off the table. Nothing. The other thing that I'd like to say about the data is that I'd like to know, these individual schools, and I've looked at the data. We've looked at the data, and I've tried to compare it to what the Black Lawyers Association has done because they looked at this, they pulled some same numbers, got some same responses, and made some slightly different recommendations, but it's still along the lines of restorative justice on everybody's part, not just on the employment where police who are called student resource officers reside. Now, I made a statement the other day that I agree that policing should not be inside of our learning institutions. And the SROs that I know and that I have high regards for, because there's some of them that are exceptional, but they are exceptional people that go to a job. They're exceptional people without a uniform. They're exceptional because I know they care. However, it does not stop us from taking a look at how this particular program could assist the ability of people not to think outside of the box when they're dealing with their children. Why are the numbers so high? Now, we know that some of these schools will reflect a 100% referral rate because most of the kids in the school are Black children. But still, why? And how many in a month or a week are being referred to A to E, A to F? And then how many are the teachers and the administration, whomever, I don't know, Danita, whomever makes the final decision to call them in to say, hey, remove this child? The other thing, Nathan, that cannot escape this conversation, and because I use problem solving to help determine what will get us the greatest extent feasible, what will make it equitable process for all children, is parents. I've had SROs call me and ask me to talk to parents to say to parents, do not have, why do we have to arrest their child during the school day? So we abuse and utilize that system as a tool too in an attempt to correct our children sometimes. In an attempt to, sometimes I think people are just frustrated and they're trying to steer their child straight and they want to put them in the carceral system and have them go in front of a judge and maybe that'll stop, right? I'm a mom, 3 sons, so I, thought some of that too. How do you hold on to your children so that they don't go the wrong way? But that's not the right way. Um, and then we have those children that are inside their homes where violence is occurring, police violence is happening, and not by the SROs, and all these things are wrapped up in this ball. And then we have bad policing, period. That's wrapped up in this whole apparatus that we call public safety. And it's very difficult to separate these things and to compartmentalize them, right? And we shouldn't have to, because what should be happening to what Danita said, which is extremely unacceptable, if anybody responds to any call and they treat you any kind of way and you accept that, that's ridiculous. So anybody, because children do meet regular B officers in the community, in the neighborhood, so they don't see SROs all day long. So if any of that is happening with Anita, I got a problem with that, and we need to be having additional conversation. And how we do know that the number of juveniles that are being arrested is on the rise. Hell, I've said that to you several times on this show. And so what that says to me is that we need to look at these numbers and begin to problem solve and figure out who owns what crime. And it's okay to do that, because as taxpayers, that's our job. And it is our job to do that for the children. Right? So it isn't a new problem, Danita. It has been a problem. And it's not just the problem of the police department and whomever serves in the role as an SRO. And I want to say this again, because when I said it the other day, folk were, upset by it. And I get it. That's your job. But it's your job that we are asking you to do, and or not. And it is something that we can review. We can utilize the same tools that we use to look at every aspect of policing. And that one is not exempt, because we have great people that are doing it now. They care. I believe that. I've seen it. I've heard them. They call, they interact. But it does not allow me to not see the numbers. So we're just going to agree to disagree. And I agree that there should be more people. I've met with, as I said, the young activists. We were trying to plan a community forum. I think I talked to you about it, Nate, about how do we get more folk, people who are directly impacted? How do we get some Black children involved? How do we get kids from Woodward and Hughes and Tabb? How do we get the parents, the teachers, the principals? Because I think what you'll get is a plethora of different responses. But then you have to be able to get that stuff to understand where the problem lies. I believe, and this is just my very small, humble, with the public school thought, is that at this particular point, the SROs are in the middle and they're being dumped on by a lot of people. But because it is the one that is positioned, and it's only, 14 of them. And I wish that we had 1,014 of individuals who perform their job the way that the SROs do. But in the whole capacity of policing, it needs to be reformed. Our children are seeing every day, more than not, maybe 2 or 3 times a day, police violence on citizens. They can't separate one from the other. Yes, they do great work, but on the whole, we have problematic police officers. And it needs to be reviewed. And in the effort to attempt to make it better, because I've asked several of them, how can we make this particular part of what you do better? Because everyone needs to step up to the plate. When I look at the numbers, as a mother, as an aunt, as a community-minded individual that don't mind stepping in, one that does unofficial juvenile court in Madisonville and been doing it for 14 years for free. What we need to do, where are community people? So yes, Danita, when you ask the question about removing SROs, what can be, there are a lot of things that can take the place of the SROs, or in addition to, there should be a balance. There should not just be police without more social workers, without more mental health capacity, without more counselors. There should be. And then there should be some assessment on who these teachers are that are repeat offenders, that have high numbers of referral. And why do you? What is it? It's not just because we got badass kids. That can't be the answer. And especially when we're talking about Black children. And why must they be policed in the school, at home, on the street, in the mall, everywhere they go? Why are our children subjected to that thought? Can we please reframe the conversation? Can we think about what we can do as opposed to what we can't, and stop with the, oh, it's not going to show. I can show you the data that says, well, there's still violence occurring even with the SRO, right? So what can we do? What can we do to make that environment better, to assist them? I am clear about the very gun violence. I know that there's a lot of things that the SROs have seen and done that we don't even know about. And that deserves to be heard, because some of that burden is on the community, it's on families, it's on us, it's on society. It seems as if that society and people, including some of us that I listen to, don't believe that Black children deserve a chance, an opportunity to make a mistake, to have a fight. I'm not saying a vicious assault. I'm just saying a fight. To get suspended, go home, do what you need to do, but to be arrested and get a record, the collateral damage is deafening, and it's lifelong. And it's much harder. It's much harder to rebuild a man or a woman than it is to repair a broken child. I believe, Nathan, that we can get to these children, some of them, a lot of them, probably many of them, before things get to the level 10. We can do better. But that requires all of us. This ain't a fight between us and them, and we need to stop that. And that is what fuels the conversation with police on the other side. So y'all just against us. No, I want better. And I have the opportunity of talking about what better is and thinking about what better is. It doesn't have to stay the same. All the children don't have to experience what what other kids did. I did my own unscientific survey. And so I asked people, like, tell me about your SRO when you were in high school, just to see what people's thoughts were. And of course, times were different. People were different. People were raised different. We did things in a different way, right? So you have to factor all that in. And I got some, our SROs was cool. I love my SRO. And then I got some SRO used to slam us on our head. But we thought that they cared, and that was what, the brother was supposed to do. So this does bear conversation, more than just framed around, is it a problem? But what is the actual problem? The numbers are dark. The numbers they're alarming, but we need to make sure that the numbers are factual in all the areas that matter. We need to ask more questions. And then we need to position ourselves to figure out what in the world are we going to do and stop talking about what can't be done. 20 years ago, Nathan, they told us we couldn't sue the police. We couldn't get this far. And look at where we are. The opportunities that the collaborative have afforded us is to begin to have these conversations, to look at the data, because we didn't get the data, to have these conversations, to get to know the men and women that put on the uniform. I'm talking about the people that put it on. I'm not talking about the uniform. I'm talking about the people that put it on. I want to know who they are before they put it on, so that it isn't problematic, no matter where they respond from. I'm going to say this to Danita and anybody else. Listen, if you don't think sitting at the table, hanging out, hammering out reform policies and actually making sure discipline matches what you're saying, then you're mistaken. In 2020, as I've said on this show, CPD arrested 35,000 people. In 2020, they arrested 11,000. So direct result in our work. Being at the table, having conversations, agreeing to disagree in a respectful way or even disrespectfully. I'm down with that too. Just make sure you put Black in front of any other name you say and be ready for the comeback. But be ready to look at something from a different lens. Why do we have to accept is as is? And why do we believe that we can't speak up for our children? I don't want standard. I don't want the status quo. I want to be innovative. Hell, I want the children to tell me what they want. I want the impacted children to tell me what they want. Impacted parents, they matter too. I want to understand why teachers are utilizing the tool of referral to get to 100%. What are we doing? And then what is the result of all those children? Where are they? Have they become productive citizens, and how long has it been this bad? As I said, Legal Aid did this study 10 years ago. We can compare the numbers. So it's not just a set of numbers. It's multiple people that have done this assessment on policing in schools. And it's not just a Cincinnati conversation. They're having this conversation nationally. The last thing I'll say, and I want to reiterate again, I have high respect for the people who work in the SRO department. I really do. I've said it across this country, and people look at me, are you serious? Yeah, I am. But that's because of who they are. And I believe that they go to the job as great human beings with concern, for real concern. And they see and do things differently than the regular beat officers. Yes, they do. And they feel differently about the children. But we need a uniform feeling everywhere. And we need to make sure that our police officers are not contributors to the school to prison pipeline. And I think everyone should be disturbed by those numbers, including the SROs. I think everyone should take a pause and say, damn, this is bleak. And how can we get at figuring out what's best, what's better? How can we get there? And just because they're Black and brown children, and just because their parents don't make a lot of money or not present at all, don't mean that we just need to give up and they just get a little bit. It means that we continuously improve what we have, Nathan. And so the conversation around get ready, who's going to respond, look, I take offense to that. Danita, I take a huge offense to that. That's not acceptable. We work too hard. And if that's how you feel, then that's how they'll come. That's unacceptable to Iris Rowley. So if anybody out there has got any complaints that they want to file, you know that, look, this complaint authority is there. Utilize it. It's a tool. You have to pick it up in order for us to know what's happening. If you don't, we won't know. If you sit back and say, well, it ain't going to change, it won't. I bet you. It won't. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It won't. Nothing will happen until you step out there. So I see good thing on the horizon. Yesterday I was bummed out about how the great people that I know that are SROs currently, let me say that currently. So if we want to hold on to what we have, okay, but let's ensure that we institutionalize the greatness of that so that whomever steps into that role, because these people right now, Danita, won't be the ones that are there forever. They will retire, move on, go on, other assignments. But this is just a portion of their job. And for me, everything is up for review. Everything as it relates to policing. And I want to ensure, again, that the people that I pay to serve and protect me, and you, Danita, and the children, and their parents, and their families, and friends, and loved ones, and even the people they don't like, do it in a fair and equitable way, Nathan. So I think it deserves a very comprehensive conversation. I think that we need to hold the school, the administrators, equally as responsible. I think the framing was a little unbalanced because it put a lot of burden on the SROs, and they're in the middle. You know why, Nathan? Because they're told what to do. Someone calls them. And so when I talk to them, and they're upset because it's made to seem as if they're doing the ones that are doing the arresting. Well, if juvenile court pulls the trigger, we just had Judge Carrie Bloom on with us last Friday. That's why it's important to listen to a lot of conversations. Juvenile court judge. And I said, how is juvenile court contributing to the school to prison pipeline? Because it is. Judge Hunter told us that. We knew that. So it's not a thing, it's all things. Because the triggers that come from juvenile court are the ones that tell police what to do. So if Nathan misses his probation meeting with his probation officer, there's a trigger, there's a button, there's a warrant. And so officers have to execute that. Now, is it the police fault that they execute that, or is it something that we can fix at the juvenile court? And who should respond to that? Is that a police response, or could that potentially be a community response? So, Nathan, all this is being reviewed by the Black United Front and the Leaders of the Free World, because we're looking at a different type of community response and safety plan. It's time. Based on what we see in America around policing, it's difficult to trust. It's difficult to believe that they're going to come with the right frame of thought and response. And it is okay for us to say, this is what we think we want. That's okay. It's okay. We can do that. It's all right. That's your role as the adults. It is your role. So there's nothing off the table for me. I really do have high regard and admiration for the current folk who serve in the role as SROs. I really do. And I want them to hear that. I want them to hear that. And we've had great working relations. But not all officers loved Iris Rowley when we first started this. It took a minute. Who is she? What is she doing? Why is she trying to tell us what to do? And that included black ones. Come on, y'all. So these things are about, what is our role? What do we need to do? There's surely some stuff we need to do in the community. Baby, there's some stuff we need to do in the community. Some stuff we need to do to help one another out, to help mamas out. And that was clearly uncovered by COVID. COVID showed us a lot of stuff. We just choose to ignore it. So those of us who are in service to us and want to make it better for us, don't mind agreeing to disagree. But what I think is unacceptable is just to accept things the way they are and not look at the numbers and not question them, not have more questions for them, not have more questions for people who are in the schoolhouses. Why do people feel afraid? Why are kids carrying guns? Because they do. They do. Why are they bringing them to school? Maybe they feel unsafe traveling from school to home, right? Maybe that's a violent place. And so how do we fix that? Is that a school problem? Is that an SRO problem? We got issues, y'all. But this is not for the faint of heart. This is not for people who don't want to do the work. It's easy. It's so easy to sit and type. I wish that would do it. I really do. But it's that you got to be about this work, and you got to be focused on it, and be okay with disagreeing. It's okay. We should never get out of pocket with that. It should never get personal. This is about a system, several systems, multiple systems that systematically have not been working for Black people for years. So I just wanted to add that to the conversation because I'm hearing some things, some scare tactics. Don't say that. If folk got problems with the police, citizens, complaint authority is there. Please let your voice be heard that way too, until we figure out how we're going to respond and how we're going to hold our own, make sure our own communities are safe. Are folk down with that? Because that's what I hear a lot of. Let somebody else do it. And we got big issues, Nathan. So we just need to be about getting at them. I just wanted to add my 2 cents because it does include police. And I just wanted to make it a little bit more complicated. You say, because it is complicated. This is extremely complicated. It's extremely complicated, and it's even more complicated when we look at the school side because people want to dig in, and people just want to draw a line. No, you can't. Systems are made to change, and it is okay for community to come in and say that this ain't working. Here are the numbers. And to have people, just say we can't, we shouldn't, it's ridiculous. Nobody's talking about, I don't think the young activists are talking about removal real quickly right now. And if you read their material, they'll give you some responses and recommendations for solutions. They will. They're asking for restorative justices. They're asking for more mental health workers to come in, more guidance counselors. Who can deny that for children? Who can deny that? And why would we? And are we being inequitable because we're talking about children in that very in the inner city, in the public schools? Those are the ones who need it. So why wouldn't we be about getting that? Why would we be so adamant against it and saying, oh, you're going to get somebody's going to come and bang your child's head in? Well, the report is saying that's happening right now. And the report is saying that, children need to figure out how to resolve some conflict. And the report is saying that we need some more parental involvement. And the reports are saying that we need some grandmamas and granddaddies up in here. The report is saying that the community needs to look at other systems and say, how are they not working? The report is saying that children need outlets. Our children need outlets too. That's the last thing I'll say. And let me use this analogy. I had a conversation with Phil Castellini, owner of the Reds, right? Before the Chauvin trial. Everybody was, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen if we get if we don't get a guilty verdict? I said, well, you could do multiple things, or we can get at the work that we know that we need to do, or we can just offer up some buildings and let folks burn them down because everybody's tired. We're sick of seeing it. I can't take any more deaths by police on a video camera. That's craziness. Talking about normalizing some insanity. That's insane. So the response can't be the same. And so as Ms. Cassidy was talking to me, he said, yeah, but Iris, our park in Roseline is taking a hit, for violence in there. Somebody's gotten killed. I said, yeah, I know the family. I said, but what do you believe the problem is for the Roseline Park? And he had to admit it, because don't come to me with no BS. He said, we took the land. Exactly. You did. It's 30 acres for community. 30 acres went from 3. So the more community people that could be about and in the park and doing the right thing. And if you get some knuckleheads, we say, hey, what are y'all doing? What's happening? Maybe we can stop that. But we don't even have the opportunity any longer to do any community development, any learning amongst folk in the community. So the same thing happened in Madisonville. I know, because I was there. I lived there. My husband was a football coach. I know. Then next thing you know, CRC comes and puts the rec center right on the football and the baseball fields. And then there's no response to where we don't go. Nothing was replaced. Any given Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, you can see 300 people there. So if 10 people got out of order, the rest can say, what the hell are y'all doing? Our children are here. What you mean? What's happening? Men can step to men. Sisters can help sisters. You know how I know? Because I was there. But there was no replacement, no care about what these little Black children and Black families going to do. The consequence of that, Nathan, is devastating. So folk are trying to find places. Black people want to go to parks, and they want to have parties, and they want to celebrate birthdays. They want to do things in the responsible way during COVID like everybody else does. But why must we accept the little bit? We're almost 50% of the population. Come on, I need for my people to expand their thinking and to think about these things. And then you look right across the street where Jordan Crossing used to be. Well, you know how I know it used to be there, Nathan? My business was there. It's been torn down for 11 and 12 years, and the port owns it, and nothing's there. But we got people trying to be in the park on 3 acres as opposed to 30 with multiple fields. And now the fields, you can't access them. You have to call somebody. If you got a community team, you got to call somebody to sign up to get on the damn field that's in your community. So, we cannot look at things through a very small lens. Let's just broaden, open. Let's become problem solvers. Let's help the young activists and anybody else that can present an inadequate state of affairs, and especially as it relates to children. I think the other thing, when we step to the plate to do things for children, just like I know the SROs, the current ones, have great love and intention, everybody needs to have that same thing. When we're talking about the babies, as opposed to them badass kids. Okay, well, you keep calling them that, that's what they're going to be. And if you ain't willing to do nothing, then that's what we get. But all it does come back to our communities eventually. So that's all I got, Mr. Nathan Ivey. I listen
you
to
sure? Nothing else?
Talk to them.
You sure? Talking about 2 cents. That was like $20
we better
right
watch
there.
These house,
Only.
Well, we better watch these house bills because they coming.
They are.
One's coming down around voting. They coming. And I'm nervous about, and I'm standing where I'm standing around SROs. But I'm also sounding the alarm on House Bill 99. They're talking about giving teachers guns. So we got to have more than a conversation, guys, and I think we can do it. I know that we can. We're brilliant. We're resilient. We've withstood the greatest tragedies next to Native Americans that you could ever imagine. Black folks. That's who we are. And so when we get back up and we want to attack something, we do it. But we don't have to fall out. And even if we do, we don't have the opportunity of not falling back in. So I heard the young activists. I appreciate the work that they've done. I appreciate the ACLU. coming in to assist. I appreciate 90B getting the numbers last year. And I appreciate the numbers that I've seen and been sounding the alarm. The numbers are going up. And I've asked the police, well, why are we arresting Black children to the tune of $6,000 a year? What's the deal? And that's in the room at the table. And people say, I don't know. Well, we need to problem solve this so we can find out. And so once we start pulling the onion back, you start to figure, okay, so this trigger is coming from here. This trigger is coming from there. And it's not just and only police arresting kids on the street. Now, that's happening too. But we have to look at all the other triggers that are pushing these buttons. And they are. And the huge ones are juvenile court. Other ones are parents. Because I've had to be that parent. My middle son decides to run away. You have to report that. Now, what's the response to that, though? Now, right? Is that working? And when you look at the numbers from juvenile court, they're stark and dark. The sentencing, the bindovers, it's insane. And the numbers are around race. And it's even more difficult to get the numbers from juvenile court around race than it is from CPD and CPS. That can't be. What are you hiding? We need to see it so we can figure out what we need to do. And with the people who say that they have the tools to get it done, what are they doing? And are we allowing people to make permanent underclass out of Black folks? Used to be a time you didn't see a juvenile record. Now Used to be a time it didn't matter, but now it does. Why? And how did things change? How did things become so carceral? That's what I've asked people that are over 50 who had SROs at their schools. How did things become so carceral? I talked to sister last night. She said, because I was bad. I used to throw things and fight. I never saw the SRO. I saw other people. I got other help. And I told her because she's a genius and ended up in Walnut. And we know those folks are different. My young son went to Walnut, the youngest one. They different. All you Walnut people, different. My best friend went to Walnut, so calm down. But how did things and why did things change? I know that there are some kids that do very violent things. I'm well aware. But when you really drill down the numbers, Nathan, and I don't have them in front of me, of very violent crimes, the numbers aren't as high as we think that they are. That should give us a cause for pause and look at what we're really talking about and stop making it just easy for us to say, we're just going to leave it like that. No, it's not working for us. Folk are coming back home after youth have been detained. It's once your child is adjudicated into the system, it's difficult. It's just a whole nother world. And then the probability that they can go to adult prison is high. So why wouldn't we try to rehabilitate children and families? Why would we want to be part of that probability that if you were in a youth center? And I want to thank Al Gerhardt for shutting down 3 of the youth prisons in Ohio. We got to think differently. And because when we don't, our children are the one that suffers. So, Mr. Ivy, thank you. I thank you for having the young activists on. I say ask more questions and ask more questions of the people who are in authority to make the decisions, but be about being in the room. Because when you're not, folk will make a decision for you. And it may not be what you think, and it's okay. It's okay to have a different array of thoughts. Bring them to the table, and let's fight for our children like everybody else fights for them. That doesn't mean that we just dump on one part of the equation. It's not just the SRO's fault. I agree with what you said yesterday. I thank you for saying that. Thank you so much. Because when you look at the numbers, it would appear that most of the responsibility is coming from inside of the schoolhouse, the learning institutions. And if we never challenge them, challenge us, hell, listen to the kids. They'll tell you what's needed. Just ask them. Just ask them. All right, Mr. Ivy, let me continue on with my day. A great conversation, folks. Just don't stop. Be engaged. Stay engaged. And let's reach for the stars, especially when it relates to our children. Let's fight for them.
All right. Thanks for the call.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate it. She said 2 cents. I was more like $20. I think next time we have to schedule the interview, but I appreciate the call and the insight nonetheless, as only she can give it. I think we hit a lot with that. You still with me, right? You still with me? Good, good, good. All right, so I need to take a quick break at the top of the hour. We're a little bit late for it. And as I say it again, you may hear political ads. Those are not personal endorsements. I don't do personal endorsements. This is a media platform. We offer opportunity for people to use it as such, including people that are doing political campaigns. So you're definitely going to hear that during the break, all right? So stay with me. We'll come right back and get straight back into the conversation. The number is the same, 513-873-7134. If you want to share your thoughts this morning, I'm Nate Ivy. This is the Nathan Ivy Show. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, I'm Mr. Same Old Same Old. I'm running for mayor.
Hold up. Haven't you run for a bunch of offices always promising change but doing nothing?
Yeah, but
nothing. I'm not voting for the same old politicians to clean up City Hall and create change. We need to vote Prophet for mayor. He will be bold, courageous, fair, and stop corruption at City Hall. I'm voting for Prophet. Prophet for people.
I'm Raphael Prophet, and I'm asking for your vote, as I will do what is right, what is just, and what is fair. Paid for by Prophet for Mayor, Dwight Crawford, Treasurer.
hello, I'm Mr. Same Old Same Old. I'm running for mayor.
Hold up. Haven't you run for a bunch of offices always promising change but doing nothing?
Yeah, but
nothing. I'm not voting for the same old politicians to clean up City Hall and create change. We need to vote Prophet for mayor. He will be bold, courageous, fair, and stop corruption at City Hall. I'm voting for Prophet. Prophet for people.
I'm Raphael Prophet, and I'm asking for your vote, as I will do what is right, what is just, and what is fair. Paid for by Prophet for Mayor, Dwight Crawford, Treasurer.
All right, good morning, everybody. Now, we kicked off the show. We started talking about the brother from another planet, Tim Scott. Did you see his response to Joe Biden's address to Congress and the nation last night? Straight from another planet, from a completely different universe. Like, what? Did he say what exactly? Racism is a thing of the past in his mind. The Democrats are fomenting and using race. I think he was chosen because of two things. Number one, he is a black man, so he's the black face of the Republican Party, the only black senator. And then secondly, there's some rumors out there, some writings out there that perhaps he might be running for president. Can you see Tim Scott for president 2024? Could be a reality. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. It depends on the voters. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134 if you want to share your thoughts. We just spoke to Danita called back in today. I'm glad she did. Kind of set the record straight, kind of updated. Heard from Sister Iris. Heard all of it from Sister Iris. And now we got John from Florida on the line. Now let's see what's on John's mind this morning. Never know. Good morning, John. Welcome to the show. Hold on one second. I want to make sure John can hear us. Hey, John, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Nathan Ivy and the good people of Cincinnati, as well as the good people around the world, and yes, those choppers. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Before we get into Joe Biden's illustrious, should I say, historic speech, you had a long conversation just now with Miss Iris, and she hit all the bullet points. And we won't go over all of them, but they were excellent talks and statements that she gave just now. She hit all the bullet points, and she was on mark, on point, and I give her a thumbs up. Sounds like she has a future plan in the talk show arena or writing columns for a newspaper. But she was very much on point, and I enjoyed the conversation that you had with her. Let's kind of zoom in on Joe Biden's. I don't know how much of that you stayed and watched. I watched most of it and then saw the outtakes and comments from MSNBC, CNN, as well as I had to tune into Fox. Well, you know what Fox is going to say. They don't have nothing else to talk about but just throw darts. But If you look at some of the points that Biden talked about, and it's basically he went after China a little bit. Basically, he went after child care plan, leave tax plan, climate change, Afghanistan, police reform, gun violence, immigration, healthcare plan, etc., and education. All of those points are good, and the Republicans should know what he was going to be talking about, and the Democrats know what was going to come down the pipeline. So, but if you watch that speech, and I posted it on my site, purehistory.org, and you'll hear the complete speech of what Biden, for some of you that didn't stay up or didn't want to watch it, you gotta, I wasn't gonna watch it at first, Mr. Nathan Ivy, and because recycle speeches, I heard these speeches before many times, over and over and over again, over 50 years. But the country, I had to watch it because I sense what Biden is doing with this $4 trillion plan, most of it infrastructure, and it breaks down to those avenues that I just talked about, which is what he talked about, is moving the country into a different direction, a la getting away from that idiot that just left the White House, and hopefully the scumbag that will be locked up. Well, we shall see. But before we get into that, really quick, I'm going to jump off of that a second and talk about the arrest, and I'm sure you're going to talk about it. The arrest of, well, not arrest, but the siege on Rudolph Giuliani, former mayor of New York City, the scumbag. Oh, black people in New York hate him because of his 2 terms in office, what he allegedly did for the city, which was nothing but attack black people. Oh, yes, you choppers don't know about this. Well, Giuliani is a scumbag and a snake, and he lies just like Trump. So Trump got the big mobster to lynch for him. So the feds broke into his apartment building, 2 apartment buildings there in Manhattan, and they seized computers, laptops, cell phones, and most of that stuff is up on the clouds. Be careful, choppers, what you put on that cell phone and computer, it goes up on the cloud. I never subscribe to the cloud because you never know if it's going to come back to bite you down the road. But Giuliani was cordial, they say, and he gave up the information. And I think the feds got most of that stuff anyway, because of the fact that once you put stuff on the cloud, it's there. They just want to see what Giuliani was going to give up. And once they got that computer, and I'm sure they grabbed file cabinets and everything else, and see if things match up to going after Giuliani being a lawyer. But it's allegedly the allegations of what the feds are getting is Giuliani traveling over to these countries and getting money from these people and not registering as an agent. Didn't that happen to, I can't think of his name, that's locked up now? Trump can't pardon him. But he got into the same trouble with the feds, where if you travel across the country, choppers, and you get money from foreign countries, you got to register as an agent. A simple one-page form to fill out. These guys think they're untouchable. So the feds let them run for a while, and now it's going to catch up with Giuliani. So he's going to sweat. He's going to have to go before the courts. The judge had to sign off on that for the feds to come and knock down both of his apartment buildings' doors, seize all the information they want, and they're going through it like fine tooth to see what sticks.
And John, real quick, what are they looking for again?
They're looking for well, one thing from what I found from yesterday, when the seizure yesterday morning is, uh, um, Giuliani should have registered as an agent. When you travel around the country and you're getting pockets of money from whoever, different countries, Germany, Russia, Germany, wherever you go, you have to register to bring that money back into this country, and it's got to be on your tax papers, on your tax forms at the end of the year. If it's not registered, if you didn't fill out that one-page form, now here comes IRS, and IRS is a part of this too. So they make everything match up, and if it doesn't match up, he's in trouble. And anybody else that think they can travel and not register as an agent getting pockets of money, even if you file it or don't file it, you got to fill out that form. And that's when, Hoover, that J. Edgar Hoover, the former FBI director that's sitting under the ground, or he wished he was living so he can get this technology, because that's what Hoover was good at, of catching you with IRS and going after you. So Giuliani, part of the allegations or the complaint, he hasn't been charged yet, but they got a judge to sign off to seize his cell phone, his computers, any files, cabinets, anything that they can go and take, which is what they did in both of his apartments. So he better sweat, because if it comes down to it that they got a case, he will talk. Trump can't help him. Trump's not president no more. Yes, Trump pardoned him. Pardons means nothing if the feds got you on tax evasion and monies and filing a certain form. What's the guy that's locked up now? I can't think of his name. That's locked up because of that. He didn't file a certain form too. So that's what they get when the feds come marching to tear your door down. So I just wanted to throw that tidbit of information in, and back to Biden's speech. And I'd like to hear your comments on it too. I don't know how much that you've seen of that speech or dissected it, or if you're going to talk about that
We've
at
been
all.
talking about it. Yeah, we started the show talking about it.
Now, some of those elements of his speech are very interesting, and we can't be surprised with the price tag. And Republicans are screaming, "Oh, it's going to cost us a lot of money." Shut up. You didn't say anything when Trump 3-4 years ago, as soon as Trump got into the White House and gave you that tax break. Oh, it was okay then, huh? It was fine, huh? Tax break, you guys are squawking over what Trump is trying to do. Put this country back in order. What Biden is trying to do, put the country back on track. Put people back to work. I see what Biden is doing. Yeah, put people back to work. He's taking the same infrastructure plan 60 years ago, what Roosevelt did right after World War II, infrastructure. He knew the country was in the toilets. And what Roosevelt did is that the best way to put this country back on track is to put people back to work. Bridges, roads, highways. Any choppers out there that got construction work, you better be bidding on those contracts. It makes sense to get some of that work and some of that money. You can't let the usual subject contractors get that money. You should be bidding and possibly partnering. And if you do get those contracts, you should put information in there showing you're going to put people to work, hire people, masonry, road work, bridges, electrical work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's no reason for black people not to bid on these contracts. No reason for it. So shame on you. But your comments, I dribbled enough. I won't be like Iris. Iris had the full plate and the full table, and I agree with her. But your comment on your assessments of Biden's speech last night.
We're talking about it right now. I mean, it was parts of it overwhelmingly I agree with. I like the direction of it. And I would have liked to hear more about the investment into the black family other than dealing with police, because sometimes it seems like these politicians think that's the only issue that matter to us. And we also been talking about the response from Tim Scott. So keep listening and I'll keep unpeeling it and unpacking it. But generally speaking, I like the idea of investing in the country. And I know that some people have an issue with asking wealthy people to pay more in terms of taxes to pay for these ideas. I don't necessarily have a problem with it. But we'll have to wait and see how it all shakes out. I mean, a lot of these are just plans, but is he going to be able to get this kind of legislation through the U.S. Senate? That's going to be a tough. I mean, he couldn't even get $15 an hour as a minimum wage to the U.S. Senate. So, I mean, I love the plans. I like what I'm hearing from some of the plans, but is it in reality, is he going to be able to get this passed?
Well, my assessment on that question that you just proposed is the heck with the Republicans. You saw what Trump did for 4 years. He wasn't waiting on the Republicans. He wasn't waiting on the Democrats. He did whatever he wanted to do. Biden and Harris have to realize they're not getting no support from the Republicans. If you got control of the House and the Senate, stop playing horseplay with the Republicans. Okay, if you want to talk to them, fine. Who cares? But and the bottom line is, you got control of the House and the Senate by one vote. Push the damn plan forward and move this country forward. Let's not play any more games. You can't play games with Mitch McConnell and the stupid Republicans that helped sink this country. So let's just move it forward and stop playing games. Put people back to work, which is what you want. That tax base dollar. That's what you want. So move it forward. He did, Leighton. You cannot tell me 100 days into his administration, he's done a lot, and most of that stuff was a vote on the Democrats. No support from the Republicans. So, maybe one or two squad. But tell me one thing, Republicans, if you're listening to the Nathan Ivy show, and I'm sure you're going to be calling up, when that check came out a month ago, 1,500, did anybody squawk over that check? No, you didn't squawk over the check. So cut it out and get your butts, you hillbillies up in the mountains in Kentucky that tried to ramp through that Capitol, get your butts back to work and stop squawking. That's the bottom line. All right. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day, John. I appreciate it. Let me back up here. With Sister Iris's call, I love her. Great flows. I think I let that go on a little bit too long. I'll be better in the future just to make sure we keep it nice and tight. Keep the show has a nice little flow to it, because what will happen is there might be an expectation for everybody that they get that much time. I just can't do that. But that's on me. I'll take care of that. In terms of John, this man, oh my God. I hear you, John. But what people have to understand is, the Democrats got a majority, but it's not like they can just push through anything they want through the Senate. They still need about, what is it? Y'all tell me, 10, 15 votes from Republicans. You got these blue dog Democrats. They just can't push anything they want to get through there. So he's going to have to negotiate. People say, well, Trump do whatever he want to do. He talked tough. He signed a lot of executive orders, but legislatively, the only thing I remember him getting passed was, and that was early on, was they revamped the tax structure, the corporate tax structure, the structure for wealthy Americans. They redid that. Other than that, he didn't get anything done. Everything else was done through executive orders because he didn't have the House, and the Democrats wasn't going to play ball. And then there might have been one or two things of legislation here, but in terms of like big stuff that people really remember, that was pretty much it. He talked tough. He signed a whole bunch of executive orders, and he passed the tax reform for corporations and wealthy folks, and that was it. And so now Biden is facing the same thing. And this is where it comes back to people like you, John, because you know better, man. Cass said it best. I had it up there. Like, he knows all these things that's going on with politics, but the man don't vote. And every vote, every seat matters in the game of legislation. And so, if you really, really care about Biden if that's what you care about, if you really care about Biden being able to, push his agenda forward, that means that he needs every senator, right? Every congressman or woman, to help him with that. So we'll see what Biden's going to be able to get done. It sounds great. I like a lot of it. But if he can't work with some of these blue dog Democrats and some of these Republicans in the Senate, it ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen. We'll be talking about this in 2 years. It's just not going to happen. He just doesn't have the numbers depending on it. Or he'll have to compromise to the point where if it passes, it won't have any real teeth in it. You know what I'm saying? So we shall see. I like the idea of it, but the reality is that there's numbers involved. Yes, they do have a very, very slim majority in the Senate. It's not enough of the majority to say, hey, listen, we don't need any Republicans to help us with this. They don't have it like that. And so I think people need to know that, because if people are ignorant of that, they will judge Biden by what he's able to do or not do. And they'll say like, well, he didn't do anything. Not really understanding the realities of the numbers game. He's going to have to caucus. He's going to have to get in here and work with these blue dog Democrats and Republicans in the Senate. He's going to have to work with Mitch McConnell, Senate Minority Leader, if he's going to get anything past the U.S. Senate. Other than that, it's going to die. Yeah, he might be able to get it through the House, true. But will he be able to get it through the Senate? It depends on what it is. They're going to have to go negotiate. And they might negotiate the parts that people really care about away. Just like what happened with Obamacare. Same thing. Obama, he sat down with the Republicans and negotiated for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. It was on C-SPAN. Everybody could see it. And what came out of it was far different than with the ideas they came into the idea with it. And that's just the compromise, the process of compromise. Same thing. So, it's like black folks want a black agenda, but then some of these same black folks, are picking and choosing where they're going to vote, if they're going to vote the whole ticket or not understanding how that impacts the ability for Biden to really pass his lift every voice, which I'll be honest with you, I don't hear enough about it in the first 100 days. I don't want to hear nothing about COVID. You sold the lift every voice black agenda to us. Then we need to see you running with it within the first 100 days, the first year. Other than that, it's going to be a real tough sell when it comes to your reelection efforts. Hell, it's going to be a real tough sell when it comes to 2022. It's going to be a real tough sell if people don't feel like you can really get something done. So, again, my number is available for you if you'd like to share your thoughts this morning, 513-873-7134, if you'd like to share your thoughts. We're talking about numerous things. Kicked off the show talking about Tim Scott, the brother from another planet, and some of his I guess it's just politics. Just doesn't really, it's not consistent with reality in terms of the way he talked about the Trump administration. I'll be honest with you. I am so glad Trump is gone. I just got tired of hearing him bloviate. It just got old. It just got old hearing him bloviating and beating his chest and we the best, and that we got the most successful administration, and COVID's not a real issue. You don't have to wear a mask. That shit got so old. It got so old. I'm telling you, it is. I'm glad he's blocked off of Twitter. I'm glad we're not talking about every crazy, silly ass tweet. It's just refreshing. We needed a whole new feel for the country. I ain't saying that Biden is like the best ever, but woo, man, I can't be alone in that. I can't be alone. And now every time you hear the president, he's beating his chest when he's not golfing, saying the most ridiculous shit you ever heard in your life, trying to divide people. I mean, I'll tell you what, Trump was real good at dividing people. He was real good at that. You got to give him his props. He never met a division that he wasn't willing to exploit for his own personal gain. Say what you will about Biden. It is refreshing that I don't have to hear that bloviating over and over and over and over again. I watched the current White House press secretary. It's like there's like an adult in the room again. It's like, what's his name? Kelly McEnany. Oh my God. It went from bad to worse to the worst ever in terms of those White House press secretaries. Because instead of speaking to the issues of the country, it seemed like they were just a personal press secretary for the president, defending his ego. It got real old real quick. So I'm happy that's not going on anymore. Let me switch the game up a little bit. And by game, I mean the topic. And I just want to give you an update on the story that we spent a lot of time talking about. And that's the situation with Botham Jean. Remember the brother Botham Jean back in 2018? He was in his own home smoking marijuana and eating ice cream, which I don't know how you feel about it. But for me, shit, you should have an American right where it's legal to sit in your underwear on your couch, smoking or eating whatever you want to, as long as it's legal, and eating a bowl of ice cream. And what happened? Well, and Dallas police officer named Amber Geiger, you can see her right there on the screen. She walked into his house claiming that she mistakenly thought it was her own home. She lived in the same apartment building, but she was on the wrong floor. And what did she do? She pulled out a weapon and shot him and killed him in his own home. She's now serving a 10-year prison sentence, which I don't think is long enough, in my opinion. As I understand it, she only got half the time she could have gotten because of the sympathies of the judge, who turned out to be a black woman. Remember, they would like giving her hugs and all this kind of stuff, like, oh, hugs for you. Hugs? You just killed this man, right? And I never thought she had any remorse from the beginning. I never thought she had any remorse, because if she had any remorse, she would have pled guilty, because she was guilty. How you going to claim that you shouldn't be held responsible because you made a mistake? You talk about privilege. For folks who may not be aware of this story, and if you're a news follower or talk radio listener, I'm not sure how you could not be aware of this story, but literally, Botham Jean was literally sitting in his underwear on his couch in his home, not bothering anybody, with a bowl of ice cream and some weed. And this white woman burst into his home talking about some oops, my bad, and shot and killed his brother. Never even gave him a chance and shot and killed him in his own house and had the nerve to put up a defense. It was people out here who was sympathizing for her. Now, personally, I think that it was a couple things going on. I think she probably was on something. She was on some type of drug or something. She had just finished a shift. So maybe she was taking some drugs to go to sleep and it was mind altering. And that's the reason why she mistakenly thought that she was entering her own apartment and she wasn't. Or she was dealing with some serious mental issues, or both. She was off duty. I think she had just got off a long shift, and literally, this man was eating ice cream on his couch. She entered his apartment and shot him. Talking about, I thought it was my apartment. She only got 10 years. She and her attorneys are now trying to get the murder conviction thrown out. She just went to jail. And on some levels, I guess I get it, because human beings are going to try to escape and they're going to try to use the system for their benefit, no matter whether they're guilty or innocent. That's what human beings are going to be. But to me, this is just another example of just the lack of remorse that she had for killing his brother and her privilege. Like, it was a mistake. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, if it was really my house, then I would have had every right to shoot him. And by all accounts, and news reports, this Botham Jean was a upstanding, upstanding dude. He was on some positive stuff. But I'm glad to hear that the 3-judge panel that is reviewing it are scrutinizing the logic of her defense attorneys and her request. What the hell? They want to bump it down to criminally negligent homicide, which carries a maximum prison sentence of 2 years, which means she'd probably be out immediately if they did that. Can you imagine this? No shame whatsoever. None. And remember, we talked a lot about this case because wasn't his family like really sympathetic? Like, oh, we forgive you. His brother was embracing her or something like this. Now, I got 2 brothers and 2 sisters. They already have their instructions. Something like that happens to me, I don't want you embracing motherfuckers in the courtroom talking about you forgive them. Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. Let me speak on it right now. No hugs, no forgiveness. Go for the maximum. And like I said, I want this city to look like Mecha Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, and King Kong and Godzilla all got into a fight when y'all get done with this city. That's what I want. Say that peaceful-ish for somebody else. For me, burn it all down. And then you can rebuild it all the way back up again. Of course, I already know my peoples. My brothers and sisters ain't going out like that. Telling some, I want to hug you. Hug you for what? You shot my brother while he was in his underwear on his couch eating a bowl of ice cream. Talking about, you forgot. You can just look at her, man. She looked like a little dope addict. I'm just be honest with you. I would not be surprised if she was doping. She was all doped up that night. I would not be surprised whatsoever. But you know how law enforcement is. They protect one another. And we're going to give you a chance to get clean and all this kind of stuff. It's just something about the way she looked. I don't trust it. And she got that same look in every photograph I've seen. Like if you Google Amber Geiger and then look at images, she got that same look in her face. I don't know what it is. I don't trust it. I don't trust it. It's just me. Now you might look at that face and say, yeah, that's trustworthy. I don't trust it. Talking about the conviction should be overturned. I knew she didn't have no remorse. She didn't give a damn about that brother. She only cared about getting off. That's it. That's all she cared about. She don't give a damn about what happened to him. As long as she's able to get off and go back to her life of privilege, that's all that matters. A damn shame. Outrageous, man. Outrageous. Like literally. And people should not forget that Botham Jean case, because you got some of these folks out here who'll say things like, well, if you not committing any crimes, Jason Whitlock, if you're not committing any crimes, then you don't have to worry about it. What now? What exactly? In this country? But it's good to know, at least in the minds of some like Tim Scott, that racism is an old thing. We've beaten racism. I want to play just a little bit of Tim Scott's response last night. I think it's very, very important to understand where people are coming from. And I'm not sure exactly what planet this brother's coming from exactly, but I mean, if you missed it, I'm not going to play all of it because it's like 14 minutes long, but if you missed it, it's worth your time to circle back around and check it out. Rotate.
I moved in with my grandparents, 3 of us, sharing one bedroom. I was disillusioned and angry, and I nearly failed out of school, but I was blessed. First, with a praying mama. And let me say this, to the single mothers out there who are working their tails off, working hard, trying to make the ends meet, wondering if it's worth it, you can bet it is. God bless your amazing effort on the part of your kids. I was also blessed by a Chick-fil-A operator, John Moniz, and finally with a string of opportunities that are only possible here in America. This past year, I've watched COVID attack every rung of the ladder that helped me up. So many families have lost parents and grandparents too early. So many small businesses have gone under. Becoming a Christian transformed my life, but for months, too many churches were shut down. Most of all, I'm saddened that millions of kids have lost a year of learning when they could not afford to lose a single day. Locking vulnerable kids out of the classroom is locking adults out of their future. Our public schools should have reopened months ago. Other countries did. Private and religious schools did.
And other countries
Science
didn't.
has shown for months that schools are safe. But too often, powerful grown-ups set science aside, and kids like me were left behind. The clearest case I've seen for school choice in our lifetimes, because we know airports, waterways, high-speed broadband, we're in for all of that. They know best. Infrastructure spending that shrinks our economy is not common sense. Weakening our southern borders and creating...
Wait. Infrastructure spending that shrinks the economy. What the... So paying Americans to work on American infrastructure, meaning working on bridges and creating high-speed railroads and high-speed methods of transportation, that would shrink the economy. So giving Americans jobs to fix our crumbling infrastructure would shrink the economy. How does that make sense? I don't get it. But this is Tim Scott. I think it's worthy because this man could be the Republican nominee in 2024. You know what I'm saying? He could be the Republican nominee. So let's pay attention to what he has to say just a little bit, family. I'm not going to bore you to death with it. And we're almost near the end of the show, but let's listen to a little bit more.
A crisis is not compassionate. The president is also abandoning principles he's held for decades. Now he says your tax dollars should fund abortions. He's laying groundwork to pack the Supreme Court. This is not common ground.
Wait a minute. I think that whole abortion thing is a myth. Federal dollars do not go to abortions. That's a myth that's been debunked 1,000 times. But it must play well within Republicans because they keep coming back to it. They keep coming back to it over and over again. As I understand it, read a lot about it, seen a lot of interviews, that is just not factually true whatsoever. Federal dollars do not go to fund abortions. That's just a lie, straight up. And a lot of people don't know it, so they'll keep running with it to make you afraid about it. Again, as it relates to the abortion issue, I'm pro-choice. I think each woman should make that choice for her own. And when she makes that choice, it's nobody's business. And people shouldn't try to make her feel bad and make her ashamed about it, because that's a really, really difficult choice for a woman to make. Okay. There's a lot of women out here who have chosen not to have abortions, who end up abusing their kids, who are just unfit. That's a very difficult decision for a woman and or a man and a woman together to make. And the Republicans just keep on politicizing it. They keep on trying to fearmonger and scare
The
people.
president is also abandoning principles he's held for decades. Now he says your tax dollars should fund abortions. He's laying groundwork to pack the Supreme Court. This is not common.
Yeah, I mean, that's worthy of a conversation more about the Supreme Court. So the Democrats have, as he said, laid the groundwork to increase the number of Supreme Court justices. Now, why are we doing this? They're doing this because the Republicans have used the mechanisms at their disposal to pack the courts with the people that they want. Like, if you go back to the last 20 years, you've had far more Democrat presidents than Republicans, right? But yet the Republicans keep on packing the courts. And that's because Mitch McConnell was clever enough to use the rules at his disposal to deny Barack Obama his ability to put people on the court. That's what happened. And so the response from the Democrats is like, okay, well, here's the response. We're going to increase the number of members on the court, and therefore we can balance the scale. So I think that's worthy of more conversation right there. I don't think it's as cut and dry as he's trying to make it out to be, but I guess it's politics. I get it.
Ground? Nowhere do we need common ground more desperately than in our discussions of race. I have experienced the pain of discrimination. I know what it feels like to be pulled over for no reason, to be followed around the store while I'm shopping. I remember every morning at the kitchen table, my grandfather would open the newspaper. I've also experienced a different kind of intolerance. I get called Uncle Tom and the N-word by progressives, by liberals. Just last week,
and by white
the national
racists.
Newspaper suggested
that's so disingenuous. You get called the N-word by white supremacists too, Tim Scott. He gets called Uncle Tom by progressives. I wonder why. I mean, I ain't saying it's right, but I wonder why. It's because of the things you say, the things you don't say. But you also get called the N-word by white supremacists and racists, Tim Scott.
My family's poverty was actually privilege because a relative owned land generations before my time. Believe me, I know firsthand our healing is not finished. In 2015, after the shooting of Walter Scott, I wrote a bill to fund body cameras. Last year, after the deaths of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, I built an even bigger police reform proposal. But my Democratic colleagues blocked it. I extended an olive branch. I offered amendments, but Democrats used a filibuster to block the debate from even happening. My friends across the aisle seemed to want the issue more than they wanted a solution. But I'm still working. I'm hopeful that this will be different. When America comes together, we've made tremendous progress, but powerful forces want to pull us apart. 100 years ago, kids in classrooms were taught the color of their skin was their most important characteristic.
All right, so we've seen and heard enough from Mr. Tim Scott. I think you got the gist of it. I don't want to play all of it. I played enough of it. It's like 15 minutes long. We got a call on the line. Let's take the call before we end the show this morning. Let's go straight to the phones. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nace. Kev on the cell.
Hey, what's up, Kev? How are you?
Trying to make it, man. So the funny thing about Mr. Scott, first off, I guess he can be the Republican nominee or whatever. I don't know what that really means anyway. But the thing that got me was before he decided to light into the Dems, right? He said, "I'm not going to sit here and litigate or give you a litany of stuff about the Democrats. I'll leave that for the television. You'll get plenty of that, and then he commits to do it. Just a double talker, man. By the way, Uncle Tom is the hero of the book, man. Uncle Tom is the hero of the story. Over 1 million copies sold at a time when the printing press wasn't like it is today, and they wanted to shut the story down. That's an aside, but it bothers me when people use that Uncle Tom analogy. He was the hero of the book. They cut off his foot. Anyway,
it's actually disrespectful to Uncle Tom to call Tim Scott.
It really is.
Right, you're right about that.
It absolutely is. It is. But yeah, and that's another thing too. So really, that's a great segue when I think about it. The disinformation campaign that's always levied against us, right? There's a story out about a slave who basically would not turn against the people in his camp, and because they did not want this person to be seen as a hero, they changed the narrative to make him into the bad guy. So people would start saying, you don't want to be no Uncle Tom. You know what I'm saying? That's literally what's happening right here in our face in 2021. We got the person up here who is not Uncle Tom. Just to be honest, he is not the hero of the story. He's absolutely not the hero of the story. Standing up here talking about I've been the victim of this as well. No, man, you are trying to victimize us today. I gotta concur with you, bro. How you gonna say to me that you're gonna put $1.8 trillion up? You're gonna put $1.8 trillion of money up to do infrastructure to employ Americans who do not have jobs, and tell me that money's not coming back to the economy? Where they do that at, man? Some of this stuff just don't make sense, and it's really bothersome that they keep throwing us the head fakes. And quite honestly, they use stupid things like by invoking the character Uncle Tom into it in order to confuse people. But don't be confused. It's very simple. If people need jobs, and if I keep getting my daggone shocks blown out in the middle of the street when I drive down the road, I would love for somebody to fix those roads. They ain't going to fix themselves. And the people that don't want to do it the Biden way, which is, hey, maybe we should raise taxes back to the level that they were before some idiot, I'm not going to mention that name anymore, decided to make permanent tax cuts for people who don't need tax cuts, right? It's either that or we're going to tax you. That's the only way, because the money got to come from somewhere. So we're either going to tax you, tax everybody. We'll tax you at the pump. We'll put it on your gas prices. That way it's fair and equitable. No, you're still a billionaire that's escaping your taxes and not paying any corporate taxes, while I'm paying my taxes and paying taxes at the gas pump. And you can afford the gas at the gas pump because you're a billionaire. Man, no more hair fakes, no more okie doke. Again, they trot these people out, the token black, all over the place. And Tim Scott actually, as a person, as a legislator, I've seen some of his actual policy and things like that when he's not being a token. He's a pretty thoughtful dude. It's horrible that they use him this way, and it's even worse that he allowed himself to be used this way. That's all I got, bro. Peace.
That's all I need. That's Kev on the sale. Kev on the sale. He said, I'm in and I'm out. All right. I've got a video that I want to show you. This comes from Ohio, so this is local. And let me set the stage here. So we live in a gig economy world where you've got people making money straight from their phones. You got people doing Uber. You got people doing Lyft. You got people doing all kinds of stuff, including like DoorDash, where they're making money during deliveries. And I don't know about you, but I've been driving through the city and had people just stop in the middle of the road. And you're like, what are they doing? And they'll get out with a bag and rush it over, and it becomes hella inconvenient. You're hitting your horn sometimes, or maybe sometimes you just wait. You ever had this situation before where you're just driving down the street, probably residential or whatever, and the person in front of you just stops. You're like, what are they doing? You're looking around like, what's going on? And they get out with a bag in their hand. You're like, oh, You're delivering some food. It can be hella inconvenient, but that's all it really is an inconvenience. This is a video of a situation that took place in Ohio recently where a black woman who was doing DoorDash was confronted by an angry driver, right? It's sort of like a road rage kind of situation. And black woman's the DoorDash. She works for DoorDash, and it was a white male who confronted her. I'm gonna play this video for you, and then I'm gonna tell you what the consequences were, what happened. Check this out. Okay, hold on before we start this. There is extreme language. There's extreme language, racial epithets. You're gonna hear all of that. So if that's something that you are, I don't know, shy about or whatever, uncomfortable, or maybe you're in a scenario where there's young people, you don't want them to hear it, I'm gonna give you a couple seconds so you can do what you gotta do, and I'm gonna roll this tape, okay? Are you ready? All right, roll tape.
Get the fuck out of here. Hey, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. I pay $1,000 a month here. You can't, you make $1,000 a 2 months. Fuck you.
How you know that?
You're a dumb, black, fucking nigger bitch. Fuck you.
What's your name?
Yeah, and I'm racist. And I'm a racist motherfucker.
Look.
I got an AK-47 right now in my fucking goddamn car. I'll blow your fucking head off.
Look.
I'm fucking tired of you, nigga.
He says he got an AK-47 right now in his car. That's not legal, is it? Can you own an AK-47? Where'd he get that? They should do a full investigation into where he got that AK-47. That road rage stuff is real. This is from Ohio. Her name is Kiana Larkins, and she is a DoorDash driver. She was delivering an order to the Windham Ridge apartments when this situation happened. Apparently, dude was pulled up behind her and got upset because she stopped in the middle of the road. And I can understand the road rage element of it to some degree because I felt that way. I've been driving down the street and persons have just stopped. I'm like, what the hell are they doing? I hit the horn, and they get out with a little bag and they run it up there. I'm like, oh, okay, they're delivering food or they're delivering something. It's hella inconvenient. Nobody likes it, but I never took it to that level. Let me add to this, and I've seen this before. I've seen people deliver stuff on my street and they had children in the car. I've seen women delivering DoorDash or whatever, and they got kids in the car. I'm like, damn, see, that's a single mom right there, a single parent doing what they got to do. You out here making deliveries and you got your kid in the car with you, which if you got to do deliveries like that, you don't want to have your kids in the car, but you being responsible. You got to make that money, got to make ends meet, and you got to make sure the children are taken care of, right? I always sympathize. I always feel a little something when I see that, like, damn, people got to do what they got to do. To make it even worse, she had her 3-year-old child with her when this verbal attack took place. Can you imagine that? This happened back on Saturday, April 17th. So going back about almost 2 weeks, about 12 days ago. And he went in on her. Yeah, I'm racist, the whole 9 yards. F you, you're a dumb black effing N-word, B word, all the whole. I'm going to blow your effing head off. Like, dude, buddy, calm down. Calm down, buddy. Calm down, bud. Tell me I'm sick of this in my country. In this country, not my country, but in this country, he said. And I'm here to tell you that he has now been asked to move away from those apartments. Apparently, the folks at the Windham Ridge apartment complex got a hold of what he said, and they have now asked him to leave the premises. So he is no longer paying $1,000 a month. I pay $1,000 a month. You probably make $1,000 in 2 months. Oh, he's big balling. He's big balling, isn't he? He is balling. He pays a whole $1,000 a month for his apartment. Okay. I pay $1,000 a month here. You make $1,000 in 2 months. Big difference there, buddy. His name is James Rhodes of Stowe, Ohio. Where is Stowe, Ohio? Let me look it up real quick. I never even heard of Stowe, Ohio. Anybody from Stowe out there? Stow. He's also been charged with a hate crime. He's been charged with a hate crime, probably due to the threat. He was charged and arrested with aggravating menacing and ethnic intimidation, which is a felony, because essentially he said that he was going to blow her effing head off. And I like this. We need more of this. And the reason why he was charged is, why do you think? Is because it was caught on video. I'm telling you, these phones right here are so powerful. When these Karens and Darrens been acting up, stay cool as a fan, family. Just record them. That's all you got to do. Because everybody tough until the boss call. Did you see this video that's on Facebook? Then things change. Everybody's tough until the people on the job get wind that you a racist. Then all of a sudden you want to cry. I don't know what got into me that day. You know, all that kind of stuff. I love hearing these kind of stories when these Karens and Darrens get dealt with and they have to deal with real consequences. But in most cases, it only happens because people be recording them. Record their ass with your phone. You get your little recording device, record them. That Karens and Darrens hate to be recorded. They hate to be recorded when they mistreating black folks. They hate it. They hate it. And that's why you got to do it. You got to be prepared. Don't be shy about it. Boom. Got you. Well, oh, really? Oh, tell me how you really feel. On there, tell you, I don't give a damn. I don't care. Nobody cares about being recorded doing something wrong until they boss find out. Then all of a sudden, I'm so remorseful. You know what? I mistakenly took 2 pain pills that day. It made me feel different. And all this kind of stuff comes out, right? I'm so remorseful. Karens and Darrens hate. They absolutely hate to be recorded when they're mistreating black folks. When they're mistreating you, they hate it. They hate it. And that's why you got to do it. It takes some courage too. Not everybody's built for it, but I'm telling you, that's how you hold these fools accountable. I love hearing these stories of these folks behaving in a racist manner. I don't give a damn about the camera. I know you don't. But your boss will. The people on your job, because you represent them, they will. And we need to hear more stories like this. He went in talking about he got an AK-47. He ain't got no damn AK-47. He might have a Call of Duty AK-47, like he got the Call of Duty game or something. He ain't got no damn AK. Where he gonna get an AK-47 from? I don't believe it. I got an AK-47 in my car right now. Show it to me. Put it on camera. James Rhodes. Talking about he gonna kill her. So I know that was a little difficult and extreme, but there's a message behind it. Record these fools, man. That's what this phone is for. It's so powerful. This is a very powerful media device if used correctly. Put them on camera, put it on social media, and then social media will take care of it. I love social media justice. I love cancel culture. What is Glenn call it? Consequence culture. He is so right. I love consequence culture. That's the way it's supposed to work. That's the way it's supposed to work. And then, like, if you don't record it, it's just he said, she said. Nobody knows what really happened. But when you record it, how many times have we seen it? Like, these people be at hotels or be at a restaurant or something like that, doing something crazy to black folks or getting racist or being, all on their Karen and Darren self. They get recorded, and then we hear they lost their job. I love it. I be dancing on it. Yeah. There's a TikTok video. You's about to lose your job. You's about to lose your job. I love it. That's exactly what should happen, because everybody tough until the boss call. What an A$AP Rocky? Everybody tough until Ish pop off. Everybody tough. Nobody cares about being recorded until they boss call you into the office like, did you see this? All of a sudden, yeah. That livelihood means a whole lot. So not only did he get arrested, so he got to deal with the legal system, but he got kicked out of the apartment complex where he pays $1,000 a month. Okay. So props to that sister, man. I'm telling you, that's why God gave you these. God gave you this to record humans behaving badly. This dude was on something. So he was probably drinking or something that day. She lucky, man, because some of these fools they'll take a shot at you. They'll try you for real. They'll try you for real. And what a weak man to try to be all tough like that with a woman. He would have never did that with a black man, or maybe he would have. I don't know. Could have ended differently. But there it is. I want to leave you with that this morning. I love it. Anthony writes, you can get it, Nate, just like any other rifle. Really? You can get AK-47? I thought that was illegal. They do hate it. Funny thing is, they love to record ish. Yeah. The Karens and Darrens, when they mistreating people, they love you. Craig writes, Stowe is near Akron. Okay, thank you. Janine writes, OMG, messing up my family name. I was a Rhodes, racist piece of ish. Angela writes, and his dumbass said he's a racist. So smart, he's stupid, right? I am a racist. Okay. Are you, buddy? Tell me more. So a racist fires another racist, help them find another job. Jericho writes, he needs to be charged with threatening. He was. Elizabeth writes, he needs to go back under the rock he came from. I'm with you on that. Charles writes, always coming at a woman, shaking my head. He wouldn't have come at a black man his size that way. And she had her child with her. What a POS. Sounds like a threat to me with the whole blowing her head off. High key hate crime. Yeah, she with her kid. She with her child. But sis played it cool. She stayed cool. Just recording. It's like, oh, really? Oh, okay, really? From what I read, there were some bystanders that were chiming in as well. Like, wait a minute, you out of order, sir. Stop all of that. I love it. And I hope he goes to jail for a long time. Greg writes, this man should be arrested for aggravated menacing. Go up to Calhoun, cat stop in the middle of the street and send that girl in to get the food. Why not just drive around the block till she comes out? You're right, they do it on Calhoun. They'll run there's a whole bunch of restaurants up there. It happens all the time. It's the most irritating thing in the world, especially when you got somewhere to go. It's completely inconsiderate. It really is. And some of these DoorDash drivers, they just stop in the middle of the road. They don't even try to find like a little driveway or somewhere they can tuck into. They want to make it as convenient for themselves. They'll block the traffic, get out. They even flip you off like, later for you. Hella inconvenient, but dude went way too far with it, man. Way too far. It ain't that serious, B. It's not that serious. Calm down. It'll be okay. All right. Again, this is not an endorsement. This is a media platform. We offer space for people to connect with our audience. And I don't do personal political endorsements. Check this out, and then we'll come right back to your thoughts.
Mr. Same old. I'm running for mayor.
Hold up. Haven't you run for a bunch of offices always promising change but doing nothing?
Yeah, but
nothing. I'm not voting for the same old politicians to clean up City Hall and create change. We need to vote Profit for mayor. He will be bold, courageous, fair, and stop corruption at City Hall. I'm voting for Profit. Profit for people.
I'm Raphael Profit, and I'm asking for your vote, as I will do what is right, what is just, and what is fair. Paid for by Profit for Mayor, Dwight Crawford, Treasurer.
hello, I'm Mr. Same old. I'm running for mayor.
Hold up. Haven't you run for a bunch of offices always promising change but doing nothing?
Yeah, but
nothing. I'm not voting for the same old politicians to clean up City Hall and create change. We need to vote Profit for mayor. He will be bold, courageous, fair, and stop corruption at City Hall. I'm voting for Profit. Profit for people.
I'm Raphael Profit, and I'm asking for your vote, as I will do what is right, what is just, and what is fair. Paid for by Profit for Mayor, Dwight Crawford, Treasurer.
Again, not a personal endorsement from me. I don't do personal endorsements. This is a media platform. We offer space placement for political ads, business ads, small business ads, events. Just hit me with direct message and I will respond today. So looking at the clock, it's about that time. Got to make a move. I'll be back with you, hopefully better than ever tomorrow morning. We'll chop it up on everything that's happening bright and early. It's 7:30 a.m. approximately. We'll check in to you can plug in and check out the show. Thank you for being here. Thank you to all the calls, all the people that shared today's show, all the comments, to the folks on Spreaker and TuneIn. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And please like and share this show if you haven't already done it. My goal is 70 likes for every show. Okay, please help me reach my goal. And I thank you so much in advance. All right, have an excellent rest of your day. Make it a tremendous Thursday. And we'll catch up real soon. I'm Nathan Ivy, and I'm out.